In a recent interview, Jett Lucas, son of Star Wars creator George Lucas, revealed that George had actually begun work on a Star Wars trilogy a year before Disney acquired Lucasfilm from him in the blockbuster deal. When asked what he thinks will happen in the new Star Wars film, Jett replied, "I already know what's going to happen. I'm happy with what's going to happen." Jett then revealed that George and J.J. Abrams have been in constant communication about the new film. John, what do you think about what Jett Lucas had to say?
Well, I think what he had to say was pretty funny in some ways when the interviewer asked him, "So what do you think is going to happen in the new movies?" I already know what's going to happen in the new movies. Have you seen my last name? I mean, I think that would have been the appropriate response. But the thing that I really, really like about this is this kind of confirms something I had heard before. And I had heard previously from a source of mine that I never ran with because I didn't know if it was true or not, that one of the things that attracted Disney to buying Lucasfilm was that they liked where George was going with Star Wars. And I didn't know what they meant by that at the time. I didn't know if they meant, oh, they liked the garbage prequels? What? So I didn't know what they meant by that. But now Jett's saying that he was actually working on a new trilogy a year before they even bought it. Now I'm starting to wonder if that's what they meant, that they liked where George was going. If that's true, that's encouraging. But the other thing that I'm really encouraged by what he said was saying that him and J.J. Abrams, George Lucas and J.J. Abrams, are constantly in contact with each other talking about Star Wars Episode 7. And I love this, and here's why. While I cannot get away from my undying, pure disgust and hatred with the prequel Star Wars films, while that being said, I've always maintained, though, if you take a one-page synopsis of the three prequel films, right? One page for Phantom Menace, then one page for each of the other two films, and just read a one-page synopsis, it reads pretty cool. It's actually pretty brilliant when you just think about the synopsis of the film. I still believe George Lucas is a master at creating these worlds where you can tell these great stories in. I just think maybe he lost a little connection with actually going in and fleshing them out and then telling the stories. So now you get a guy like J.J. Abrams taking some overall world tips from George Lucas. And Abrams is the guy who's going to flesh out that story and tell the story in this world that Lucas is kind of the architect of. I think that's fabulous. I think that's great. As a Star Wars, I'm actually getting goosebumps. You can't see them. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about that idea. I've always wanted George Lucas to still be the architect of this world. And it kind of sounds like maybe he is. I hope so. Amy Rose, what do you think about what Jett had to say?
First of all, Jett, I was really hoping you'd give us a little bit of a glimpse. Of course you're not going to, but I was just hoping. That was very cryptic. I know it's happening. It's great. Well, thanks. I'm so proud for you. I mean, George Lucas is who brought us this amazing world, this galaxy far, far away. And he's amazing at it. I don't want him to direct, as we've obviously said. But, you know, I definitely want him to be involved. And I love JJ's vision of just, you know, how sacred this property is. And not to mention, with Michael Arndt penning the script, I have a lot of faith in that as well. Toy Story 3, Little Miss Sunshine. I mean, he's incredible. And one thing I love about this is that, opposed to being the prequels where they have to go in a certain direction to catch up to the Star Wars we know, this is pretty much free range, which I love. Because it's, you know, however they want to continue the stories and reconnect us with these characters we love so much and introduce other characters, and I just couldn't be more excited. And yes, I want George involved, just not at the helm, basically.
Dennis?
Yeah, you and me have talked about the prequels before, and we talked about how the actual story is good. It's just the movies.
The execution wasn't so good.
Not so good.
I think a lot of people get confused between what a good story is and what good storytelling is. And so George Lucas had a good story, he just didn't execute on the storytelling part. His job as the director. You know, storytelling involves the directing, the acting, the camera shots, the editing, like all the things put together. And George Lucas hasn't really done that well for a long time.
No.
But you have J.J. Abrams, on the other hand, who actually is a good storyteller, despite what you think about his movies and Star Trek. Star Trek, he didn't write Star Trek, you know, in Star Trek Into Darkness. I thought both of them were fun. The scripts weren't the best, you know, but his storytelling, I felt, fit what that was. And so this combination of George Lucas's story and J.J. Abrams' storytelling as a director, I think is a great fit.
I remember a friend of mine asked me, you know, how do you think Jett and his sister feel about, you know, George selling off Star Wars? I mean, that's kind of... Did you see how much he sold it for? You know who's getting that money? Don't feel bad for them. They're going to do just fine. Don't worry about it.
If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to AMC Movie News on YouTube. It's free and a great way to stay updated with all the latest movie news and check out our daily show, AMC Movie Talk. Also, don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter to stay in the loop for our special prizes, giveaways, and contests.